Welcome back to the Business Exchange, the show where we dive into the ideas, people, and innovations shaping industry and redefining the future. I'm your host, Joseph. Today we're joined with Warren Fear, owner and certified business coach at Action Coach Sugarland. Warren has spent decades helping organizations grow, from leading a Peabody Award-winning NBC television station at just 39 years old to manage multi-state advertising sales operations generating more than 100 million in revenue. Today his focus is helping entrepreneurs build scalable businesses, stronger leadership, teams, and high-performance cultures. He's also a sought-after speaker who has presented at international conferences including the World Business as Mission Conference in Dubai and DigiMarcon Houston. Warren has helped companies achieve 5 to 10 times growth in their early years, and today we're diving into the strategies behind that success, including how business coaching, leadership development, and emerging technologies like AI are shaping the next generation of entrepreneurs. Warren, welcome to the Business Exchange.
Hey, Joseph, thank you. Those are really nice words. That even sounds kind of impressive.
Good. I hope that was a good intro.
Yes, perfect.
Good. So, Warren, you've had an incredible career across media, advertising, and leadership. What's first sparked your passion for helping business grow?
Oh, yeah. Well, I grew up on a farm in Iowa. I pitched a lot of crap, built a lot of hay, and I saw. So that was kind of my first foray into business ownership. My dad owned that farm, and so we always kind of were do-it-yourselfers, and you get stuff done, and if something's broken, you fix it, and that's the way it works. So, and then when I was in advertising, of course, we were always able to bring leads to people, bring customers to people, potential customers, but you could never work on the other sides of the business where it was about what was the customer experience like? How do we follow up with them? All that kind of stuff. So to be able to pull all those levers now has been really, really fun, and it's super fun and rewarding to see businesses grow and scale.
Oh, excellent. So from your generating 100 million in revenue, what leadership lessons from that experience still shape the way you coach entrepreneurs today?
Yeah, great question. I ran teams of over 100 people since I was 39, and one thing you got to learn is that when you're running bigger teams, you're always recruiting. And I am recruiting constantly, even now in my, I'm not running a $100 million firm now, but I'm still looking for the right people. And when you find the right people, you get them on board and you figure out what you're going to do with them after you get them on board. But if you're looking for good people all the time, you will find the right people to put in your organization.
Excellent. So what led you to join Action Coach and transition from corporate leadership to business coaching?
Well, they made it easy because they eliminated the VPs of advertising. So I was left with the opportunity to do something else. That's really the truth. And I looked at just, running a TV station again or something like that. But we would kind of want to stay around the Houston area because my kids are graduating college from here, et cetera. And I looked at Action Coach. I bought Action Coach because it's approachable language. We have a 17-week guarantee. It's the biggest coaching organization in the world, been around 32 years. I like practical applications that we can put into use to grow businesses quickly, and the fact that we have skin in the game.
Gotcha. So when you began working with when you began working with a company, what's the first financial metrics you analyze?
Well, when I deal with clients, first of all, we look at the basic stuff about profit. First of all, do they know their financial metrics? So I guess there's that. So you got to figure that out. And if they don't, then let's figure out how to get those. Another thing I would strongly suggest for I have a lot of trades, for instance. Like, trades need to know how much they're making per job, because invariably they'll say, I'll ask them what their margin is, and they'll be like, it's around 40%. I'm like, okay, cool. How can we verify that? And when we start looking at jobs, profit per job, it's generally not. So knowing where your money's really going is super important. And then after that, the next thing I would look at definitely is pricing. Are we pricing competitively, but do we have opportunity to potentially raise some prices?
Gotcha. So many business owners chase revenue but struggle with profit. Why does that happen so often?
Well, I think the margin is a piece of it. I don't think that most business owners have a really solid 5 year business plan to figure out where they want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, you're sort of just stacking needs and wants on top of needs and wants, and you end up building out this organization organically without a real plan. And then that can lead you into spending too much money, for instance, on things you think you need, when in fact they're you haven't optimized the actual the assets that you have first. And that could be optimization through, that could be through AI, that could be through systems and processes, or some combination of that. Are we leveraging are we leveraging our employees, and are we getting 40 hours a week if we're paying for 40 hours a week? In a lot of cases, we're not. So if we can leverage those assets more, those people more, and people like to, have stay busy. We can usually squeeze more out of the organization that will bring more to the bottom line.
Oh, excellent. So you mentioned that a lot of business owners are sort of overestimating their profit margins. So what do you do to fix that problem?
Well, first we figure out where the money's going and what they're really making per job. uh, the other thing I really like to look at is from the marketing perspective. A lot of folks don't know their numbers from the marketing perspective either. So when you think about, okay, I'll ask somebody, well, what does it cost per customer? And they might say, well, our cost per conversion is $75. Okay. And then the next question is that conversion? When you say conversion, what does that mean? Because for digital marketers, it means a form fill or a phone call. So that conversion is not a customer. That is a lead. And then, so what's your
Right.
close rate on those leads? So we got to get to a real cost per customer. And if we can look at the lifetime value of a customer, we can figure out if the cost per customer is $100, and we get a $500 profit, or let's say gross revenue from them, and our profit's 250, we made $150 on them. Oh, that's pretty awesome, first of all. But then if the lifetime value of the customer is $7,000, then theoretically we would keep printing that money machine. We'd keep the money machine on as long as there's, to the point of diminishing returns. Now that said, what also happens is, if we did that, there would be a inflection point where we would run out of cash, because you don't
Right.
get the lifetime value of the customer out of one sale. So you got to be smart about cash flow forecasting and really thinking about where you're going with the business to make those determinations. But first you got to know your numbers. And if you don't know your numbers, it's all guesswork.
Right. Of course. So what are the three biggest levers that consistently increase profit in small and medium-sized businesses? Like I got a list here, like pricing strategy, operational efficiency, leadership structure, sales process.
Yeah. Uh, yes, all those.
All
I go
those.
to, I like top line a lot, because there's some things you can squeeze off the bottom line and margin, and get more efficient on cost, and um, get more efficient on employees, et cetera. But the top line sales revenue, thinking about, okay, how many leads are we bringing in? Are they the right leads? What is our conversion rate? So how can we have a better conversion rate? That means scripting and unique value proposition and follow-up and customer interaction and all those things, and putting them in our database and reaching out to them regularly. Because if we can increase conversion rate, then that's going to, then every dollar you spend, you get more back out of. And then if you think about, okay, then can we do some pricing things to grow your average sale? Can we bring the customer back in one or two more times? And then we go to the bottom line, which, and the efficiencies and systems talking to each other, and effective use of employees. But I like to start with top line first, because number one, it shows the business owner that in fact we are adding value. It gets us through our 17-week guarantee, so we paid for our fees and then some,
Yeah.
and then we can rocket fuel this thing and talk about the longer term benefits.
Gotcha. So when entrepreneurs first come to you for coaching, what's the most common problem keeping them up at night?
Well, I would say, well, first of all, are they making money? And do they know if they're making
Yeah.
money? uh, so that would keep them up. Then it's really what burns them out is time, because these business owners are, you can grind and get to maybe $1 million just by hard work and grit and determination and work. But what got you to a million isn't going to get you to 10 million. And so that's where you've got to have the right people in place that so that you can actually scale the business. And then you actually have to be able to to figure out what you're doing as an owner. That's owner stuff, and that's the important stuff, but not the urgent stuff. Because people always get to the urgent stuff, but they don't get to the important stuff of building out the structure, this management structure, accountability for their people, finding the right people to grow the business. So that's usually the constraint that gets them. And then they're like, it's people. It's like, oh, I can never find the right people. Okay, well, where are we looking? Do the people actually know where the end zone is and where the out of bounds are and all those things? Have we communicated with them? And then the other thing I'll say that is a Brad Sugars thing from Action Coach, but it's like your people are only going to be as good as you are. So game knows
Right.
game. I'm not going to attract a killer if I'm not a killer myself. Like you gotta have continuous improvement mindset, continuous education, so you keep getting better, and then you attract better people, and then those people always bring in better people because your culture is awesome. Hopefully,
Gotcha. Gotcha. So mentioning what you said about business owners going after urgent things instead of important things, do you think that causes the business owner themselves to be the biggest bottleneck in their company?
yes, absolutely, you nailed it. They do. They bottleneck it, and they bottleneck it with they're always busy, so you can't, and then they don't make decisions.
Yeah.
And making decisions, as you know, making decisions is critical in a business because not making a decision is still making a decision. It's making a decision not to do
Yes.
anything. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that
Yeah.
before, right, Joseph?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, here, what are the biggest mistakes leaders are making when trying to build a strong team?
They hire their friends, nephews, cousin, or they
Yeah.
worse yet, a closer relative. I think that's the first one, and we as people want to believe the best in people, and so we overlook the little things that we notice or that our gut tells us during this interview or hiring process. I think that's number one. Number two is we don't really know what we're going to do with these people. I have this all the time, and this is another way to waste money. You're like, we really need to hire somebody because we're really busy. Okay, tell me exactly what this person's going to do. Tell me exactly what
Hmm.
success looks like if they do all the right things. And a lot of times I get a blank stare. It's like, okay, we got to figure out what that is first, and then once we
Yeah.
figure out what that is, then we can actually figure out who we want to hire. But let's figure out the ideal
Yeah.
person first, and then let's make sure we can leverage all that time that we're going to invest and money we're going to invest in them.
Gotcha. So, what typical stage do businesses typically hit their first major growth ceiling, and how do they break through it?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I love to do. That's so much fun. Um, yeah, I think the first one is that first hire. So it's how do I make that hire? Because probably they hired somebody and they screwed it up the first time, as we've all made bad hires, myself included. Um, and then they get gun shy, and then it's like, okay, there's got to be a point of where you take the leap of faith and you say, okay, this person's not going to make me any money for a couple months. Do I have a solid cash flow forecast in place, and do I understand where my revenue is coming from, and do I understand how we can get this person to actually add value to the company? And sometimes the added value is giving you, the owner, time to actually go do owner stuff. That's where the value
Yes.
comes
Yeah.
from, right? Now you get smarter, you leverage your time more. And it's the same thing as I built my business here. I keep handing off more and more of my tasks to somebody I can trust. In this case, it's my a lady I worked with 2 jobs ago, actually, and we've worked together. She's mostly working on my stuff and my client stuff full time now, just because that's how it works. But as I've been able to hand more stuff to her, I've been able to do smarter work that leverages my time for more value.
Right. So, running a company can be lonely. How important is it to have a coach or a mentor in breaking through growth
Yeah, and
plateaus?
that's brilliant. And it is lonely, right? Like, who are you going to talk to? And you can't, you think you're in this alone. And I always tell everybody it's twice as hard, it takes twice as long, it takes twice as much money as you thought it was going to. Um, but yeah, that's one of the things that I love about sort of like about coaching, but also creating this community of folks that can collaborate, bounce ideas off each other, feel like you're not in this alone. Um, yeah, so that's where I mean part of the coaching thing is just having somebody that can not only hold you accountable, but that you can collaborate with, and then feel comfortable making a decision with some consultation that is going to work, and getting a backup, having backup point of view to really say this is the right call.
Right. Right. So, AI is transforming industries rapidly. Where do you see AI creating the biggest opportunities for small and mid-sized businesses?
Yeah, if we in my last quarterly planning, we did a little assessment and had our clients kind of figure out. We did a little 30-minute thing, and where are we at with AI and how do we use it? And you've got your 101 users and you got your 401 users. One of the guys in there is a tech guy, and he uses AI as his tool. Uh, it's his main tool. It's his main sort of product. Um, so as I would see it, and you know the answer to this better than I do, Joseph. So I think that's really the deal. But I'll tell you from my point of view, um, I think it's not only it's using it to have systems talk to systems and figuring out automations. It's using AI to potentially follow up with customers, using AI to automate lead generation. And then, and I didn't, this is not my original idea, but I was talking to somebody on one of these podcasts, and they're like, well, if you can, AI is so good, you can actually use AI to build the solution to the problem you're trying to solve, that whether that's a software solution or whatever that is. But what do you, am I right? So you tell me.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, yes, yeah, I would say, yeah, you're right, you're bang on.
Yeah, and it's like if we're not thinking about this, you can like my kids hate AI, and they're college kids, and they hate the potential loss of jobs and all this stuff. But frankly, if you're not using it to as a tool, you're missing
Hmm.
you're missing competitive advantages. And there's things like right now, for
Yeah.
instance, I'm writing this book. It's called Trust Your Caddy, and so it's like the intersection of golf and business and life. The idea being like, if you, I was at Pebble Beach, and if you, we used to entertain clients there when I lived on the West Coast, and I'm sitting there and like, these people pay all this money for this caddy, and then they don't listen to any of his advice. It's just crazy. It's crazy dumb, right? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
anyway, so like, but the things that I can do, like I wrote a whole bunch of stuff, right? And then I use AI to sort of organize that into more of a linear thought pattern, because I have all these stories and stuff from living all over the country, and interactions, just life stories that we all have. And then I used AI, like, how do I make this into more of a reasonable, kind of like outline for a book?
hmm,
And then what I just did yesterday, I do these podcasts too, and I took a bunch of podcast transcripts. I put them in AI. I'm like, what is relevant in here to my content that would be great for business owners? And then it's taking snippets out of that, so I don't have to think about all that
hmm,
stuff. So that's an
yes,
application that's
yeah,
not for everybody, because not everybody's writing a book. But my gosh, like, I'm just sitting there looking at this thing like, holy crap, that just saved me like hours and hours of pouring through transcripts and trying to figure out where to put it. Now, it's my
oh
original
yeah,
thoughts, it's my original
yeah,
interviews, but that tool is a time saver. And so I like it for a lot of my business owners, for ideation. Get me part way there. I have to have original thoughts and things, and like I used it for like a presentation I was doing for somebody. Um, there's some real speed things there. You still got to know the content. It's still got to be your content. It's got to
yes,
be original.
yeah,
Um, and if you just use it all the time, you're not thinking about it. And then you got to go back, and then you got to review the content, because you don't even know what the heck you wrote, because you didn't actually write it. So there's that. I guess that's
yes,
both sides of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, for business owners listening today, what AI would you recommend as a priority to get started on?
I would say look at what you do that's a repetitive process and see if it could be automated and start small and
Yeah,
experiment and put some prompts in because I'm no AI expert either by any stretch of the imagination and then use consult with people like you that have game in the space, figure out because it's worth a little money and time investment to figure out where there's efficiencies.
right, right. Okay, so yeah, well, I was going to share a thought. Yeah, like using it as a tool. If I had to write these podcast questions myself, yeah, I'd be here for 5 6 hours trying to figure out what to ask Warren and relevant questions. Where no, I just feed all the information in and produce a 30-minute podcast with certain questions and types of questions, and there we go. 2 minutes, it's ready.
That's beautiful.
So
I love it. And then it
yeah, it makes it, and it's like you said, this is writing here. But one thing I saw on another LinkedIn post was somebody saying, write in your prompt, but then ask your AI to rewrite your prompt.
to make a better prompt.
And then use that prompt to produce whatever article or whatever it is you're trying to produce. And that made a lot of sense there. So it's like resharpening your prompt to even get better information.
That is brilliant. I love that. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that. It's a great idea. It's
yeah,
just, yeah, it's like the next, that's like 201 stuff. It's like, okay, I have a prompt. How do you get a really good prompt? Then how do you use AI
yeah,
to get you a better prompt to prompt AI the right way? That's brilliant. I love it.
yeah. That made sense. Yeah, that made sense to me too. So, do you believe AI will replace parts of the business leadership, or will it simply enhance better decision making?
I think I think it has replaced a lot of high end consulting jobs in the tech space already. I think it's replaced a lot. I know when you go to the Burger King and there's nobody in the front of the store anymore, those people that's all AI. And I've actually talked to a guy that had a Checkers location, and he's like, AI is better at upselling. It gets the orders right every time. Um, and it costs me $1,700 a month, and I have one person in the front of the store instead of having five or whatever. So those
Yeah,
those are all job
yeah,
replacements, like they just are.
yeah,
I think that all of that said, man, if we can figure out how to dig more efficient wells in Africa, or we can figure out how to cure cancer 25 times faster than we could have figured out before by running all this data through it and just really using it to learn and crunch data from various cases and figure out what we maybe didn't see as a humans in patterns or whatever that is.
right.
There's amazing, awesome things that can come from it too, right?
Yeah,
So I'm a glass half full guy, but I think it is the most impactful thing that has happened in my lifetime as far as acceleration of business content, learning, and data.
right, right. So, do you see AI impacting business coaching and leadership development?
Great question. It's funny. You can put anything you want in AI. It's going to give you an answer, right? And I don't know, man. And there's some use cases there for sure. But when you talked about being a lonely business ownership, it's having a person to talk to and really strategize with, and then using AI as a tool to maybe get you there faster, I think is the answer to the question. I had a client of mine, and he's like, well, he asked me all these questions. I gave him my answers, pretty straight up. And he's like, well, here's what Chat GPT said. And I'm like, yeah, that's mostly right, but it's not right. So, and I know it's iterating in 6 months from now to be five times as good as it is now or whatever. But
Yeah,
you got to have some human perspective, I think. And leadership, it'll never replace any kind of leadership because leadership is people, motivating people
yeah,
and growing people to do their best. And that's not an AI thing.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So, let's go into a bit of business growth. If you had to simplify it, What are the three pillars of a scalable business?
I get three. Okay. I'm gonna say you got to have a product or service that is awesome. Um, then you've got to have a mechanism to bring in leads, close leads, and get revenue in the door. And then you have to have a leadership component where you can scale and grow the business with the right people and the right culture, doing the right things, and then that all starts from the top.
Right. What advice would you give entrepreneurs who feel stuck and unsure how to reach their next stage of
Well, they
growth?
call Action Coach Sugarland, or they look me up on the. That's what I was. I
Perfect.
think.
Good.
I think. I do think there is a stuck component. I think that's why a lot of people consider business coaching because they know what
Yeah.
got them there won't get them to the next level. So I say seek. I
Yeah.
say seek wise counsel. Sometimes that wise counsel it doesn't have to be a coach, but it can be other business owners, the collaboration aspect. People like to help people. Like that's the most addictive thing about my job is we get to see the results and we get to see people grow and learn and they get their time back and they get to go to their kids' soccer games and they're making more money and now they're
Hmm.
giving money to their kids and they're figuring out like the 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 really cool thing is like what their goal was to whatever it was a $2 million business a year and a half ago, and now they're like, well, I mean, I think this should be a $10 million business in 5 years, so I can sell it for 4 million, blah blah blah, when I sell it in 6 7 years or whatever the number is, right? Like their
Right.
goals have
Right.
actually amped up and snowballed to a higher level. So like that's where the value is by seeking help. So seek help.
So, what trends do you see shaping the next 5, 10 years of business growth and leadership?
Outside, I mean, I think you're right. I think it is AI, um, and then it's how do we lead through this time of change? Also, I think how do we lead through a time when people seem to be more polarized than ever? Um,
Right.
how do we continue to build culture in the world of distraction, and how do we build human connection that builds motivation to really grow and achieve as teams, and I think that this in the next 5 years, this personal connection, even us talking today, even though it's virtual, this personal connection becomes exponentially more important in the business world and in the world in
Hmm.
general.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one leadership habit every entrepreneur should develop.
Okay, uh, drink heavily. No, that's not it. What I would say is I go to one of the things that you got to know what you're about. Like, what are your non-negotiables? For me, and okay, you're in Canada, so so don't take this personally. But for me, I had this people ask me this, and I came up with three non-negotiables that I want on my team. That's urgency, urgency to connect with, to get back to your people, to get back to your customers and your team, and to get stuff done. Skills, uh, intellectual curiosity, continuous learning, always getting better at your craft. Attitude, attitude of gratitude, positivity, thankfulness, um, and so that's USA. So urgency, skills, attitude doesn't work for Canada, but
No,
I think
the acronym would be too
yeah,
long.
you'd have it's too many letters. I also think that if you're going to have a culture or a mission statement or whatever, it should fit on the front of a T-shirt. So like
Yeah.
Action Coach is world abundance through business reeducation. So the idea of if we as we continue to grow businesses, they make more money, they give money back to their communities and their charities and they take care of their employees and then their businesses grow and that's how we really do world change. It's corporations can do some stuff, right? And they have their place, but the real action happens on the ground with small and medium businesses.
Right. Yes, it does. So, a book that shaped your leadership philosophy.
It's called Trust Your Caddy. It's not out yet, and I wrote it. Uh,
Good
I
stuff.
think I just read one, It was a couple of years. It was probably a year ago already, and it's called It's Your Ship. And I don't know if you have you read it. Okay,
No.
so it's about a naval commander, and he took the worst performing ship in the fleet from a safety, from an attrition, from a all performance metrics standpoint, and he made it the best performing ship in the fleet. And a lot of the reason he did that is like it's the title of it's your ship. So it's like it's trusting, it's putting the right people in the right positions, giving them ownership and ability to make decisions autonomously. In this case, if it doesn't potentially damage the ship, if it's not a safety concern, obviously anything where you're going to start firing weapons, you can make all those decisions without because it's your ship. And then
Right.
that sort of having lunch with the people that are doing the work in the cafeteria and getting their opinions and getting their buy-in, because the people on the front lines, they know way more about what's going on, and they have way more ideas and better ideas on how to make decisions to fix it to make it more efficient than some dude sitting in some room that's in a big office. Like that's just the way it
Yeah.
is. And if you give them that decision making ability, they'll own it. They'll own the decisions. They'll own the results, and they'll be all in. And that's how you motivate people, and that's how you keep people, and that's how you grow people.
Gotcha. So, the best productivity tool you use today, other than AI?
Yeah, I give you two. Uh, Number one, I we do this 13-week planning thing every quarter, and then we basically figure out the six things we're going to do, and then we week by week figure out the tasks we need to accomplish that goal by the end of the quarter. That's super powerful. I look at it every day. I'm mostly on track right now. I haven't done everything, but I do my quarterly planning tomorrow with Brad Sugars, our guy that runs Action Coach all over the globe. Because I need to do this too. So I would say that's number one. Number two is
Yeah.
have a really killer person that's taking care of all your stuff that you hate. In that case, for me, it's admin stuff. It's anything detailed. It's follow up crap that I hate. I'm the big picture guy, so those would be my two productivity tools. One just happens to be person.
Good, good. Well, I'll end with this one question. One thing every business should start doing with AI this year.
Ooh. Well, I think they should start. So there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could, I think I go back to what I said earlier. Take one thing that is repetitive and figure out how to solve it. And just do one.
Yeah.
Just do one first and get that experience, and then use AI to figure out how to solve the next thing, and then do that
Yeah.
again. And that's sort of a general answer, but that's where I would go.
No, no, that's a great answer. Just like in business, just get started or
Start.
do it.
Yeah, start. Do something. Make a decision.
Yeah, do
Do
something.
something.
Right.
Whatever it is, just do something.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, Warren, this has been an incredible conversation. I love your perspective on leadership, scaling organizations, and building stronger cultures is incredibly valuable for entrepreneurs navigating growth today. And I love the reminder that successful businesses aren't just about strategy, they're about people, systems, and leadership alignment.
Yes.
For those who are listening who want to learn more about Warren and his work, you could at Action Coach Sugarland. We'll include the links in the show notes. And Warren, just for my listeners, how else can they get a hold of you?
So the Warren Fear is F2IsHR, so that's probably shocking to everybody. I have a podcast myself called Fear Factor, F2IsHR, and that's pretty fun. And I talk to people, even people like you. I talk to people, business owners, etc. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Just figure out what the heck my name is, and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, but like I said, I'll have it in the notes, and when I post my LinkedIn post, I'll have all the connection directions on that too. Perfect. Again, this is Joseph, and this has been the Business Exchange, where we explore the ideas, innovations, and leaders shaping the future of business. And thanks again for Warren for joining
Joseph,
me.
thanks so much for the time. That was fabulous. Appreciate you.